in this movie game. I don't know what this man is praying. Maybe that's why I'm summoned to work with him. I said, and we talked about the light. I know that I am the light. You know what I'm saying? I know it. You know what I mean? So when I come into a place, like I never worry about, talking about faith, I never worry about whether I'm going to be a part of a project or whether it's going to be good or not. It's impossible for me to be on your project and not prosper. I knew that when I went to Black Lightning. That's on Netflix if you haven't seen it. I knew that when I got the job to do Black Lightning was already greenlit for a second season. Just because I'm there.
And when I got a job at Nike, you already said Nike about to hit all the goals. They about to revolutionize. They about to do this because they finally decided to bring you on board and make you a part of this, and they can't lose now. They can't lose.
No, not at all. Honestly, and I'll say this bluntly, if Nike did not hire you, the mantle of Nike was going to fall. Adidas was going to take the reign. They was going to take the reign for the next 10 years. When Nike hired you, that gave them 10 more year lease, on the game, But I guarantee you, they was going to take it and they was going to run with it. And it happened in the book. It felt like Adidas took off, and then he had to boom, 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 boom. We talking about Phil Knight's book, Shoe Dog. But they needed you. They needed you. Listen to me when I tell you they needed you. They needed you, and I just knew it because I got faith. I could see. I'm like, Aaron is about to revolutionize, whatever I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? He's about to change the game.
Help change the game.
Help change the game.
And with a team. This is none of this. None of this.
That's good and all. When I met a lot of people at Nike, and they be on this no disrespect, but they like call this humble stuff that they be on. You know what I'm saying? I'm just the truth. You know what I mean? The truth is the truth. That is the truth. You should be popping so hard that people gotta have discernment to see your humility. That's how it gotta be. Like, I know this brother. Just like I met a few other people at Nike, like I know, yo, they really about to just revolutionize everything. You know what I'm saying? It's about to just be crazy. And that's what you have. This is the engineer kid. This is this creative. You know what I mean? And I can see it that, Nike is not everything. It's not the all and be all, but it's a big step on the staircase.
Absolutely.
So congratulations, Nike, for selecting Aaron. That's good stuff.
Should we take a break?
I think we should take one more question. What question are you hearing? I'm engaging your faith.
I guess the question that
and the person that asked about faith, the question to me, her name is Tanya. Tanya asked me that question.
Okay, well, Jim's going to ask this question. So Jim is asking, this is going to be a very broad question. When do you know to quit? When do you quit? When do you stop doing that thing? I know you talked a little bit about it earlier, but how does somebody get over the fear of having to quit that job or having to move on or having to get a new place or downsize, and how do they do that?
Jim, that's a great question. I remember being at the University of Laverne, and I'm playing basketball there, and I'm sitting in my Mitsubishi Galant, and I'm talking to a pastor at the time that I met when I was going to trying to play ball at Iowa State University in Iowa. And I was talking to him, he's like, man, I can see you right now. You have a low haircut, you have one tear coming down your eye. And it was the exact thing that was happening in that moment, because I was struggling between, what do I do? Do I play another season of basketball, which I know is not going anywhere? Or do I focus on graduating and seeing where that takes me? So I'm at that crossroad trying to figure it out. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I had to allow myself to really look inside of myself, and I asked myself a question. Why do you really want to continue playing basketball. Then that question led me to, you always said that you wanted to go to the NBA and stay there for 5 years to get the pension and do something else.
Mm.
So that means that was never the dream anyway. So I was able to let that go, and I accepted to graduate, and it was the best decision I've made. And I think there'll be more times in life where I'll be at that crossroad. So the thing for me is to ask the question. You know, when I was at the crossroads of, should I quit my job as a waiter? You know, I made a deal with another actress named Tisha French. And she shook hands and said, you know, on March 28th, whatever that, you know, it was, that, you know, you're going to touch and agree and quit that job. And I said, I agree. And so when March 28th came up, I had made that agreement. So that let me know that it was time. And when I quit the job, when I went to go give a card to the manager at the time, he says to me, yeah, it was time. It was time.
Asking yourself why. I'm going to take this really quickly over to the engineering side. So anytime you want to get to the root cause of anything, there's a system called the 5 whys. And we use it a lot when there's a plane crash, when there's a car accident, when there's any sort of a situation where something happened and we don't know how it happened or how things got to that point. And asking yourself why is, for most people, to want to quit something, you have to ask yourself why, but a lot of times that first why isn't good enough. Or there's much more to unpack. So asking why 5 times, one right after the other, you get yourself down to the core, the root cause. And that's what you did. You asked yourself, why do I want to continue to play basketball? Because I want to make it to the NBA to get a pension. Why do you want a pension? Because you want some sort of stability and you want to have this and this and this. Well, why do you really want that? Because this happened. And why is that? Because of this. And through listing all of these 5 whys, it helps you drill down. And one of these drill downs, when you start drilling down, you're going to be like, that's not me.
So
that's
now,
not what I.
Question. I'm trying to understand this. So I can use this in my craft. So you said listen to the 5 whys. So you're asking yourself that 5 times?
Yes.
Okay.
So any sort of let's just put it like this. Okay, there's a car accident, and one car runs into the back of another car. Why did that happen? Because one car hit the back of another car. Why did that happen? Because the car in front stopped. Why did that car stop? Because the person was on their phone. Why was that person on the phone? Because their parent just died and they got the call. Well, why didn't they pull over? Because they were on the freeway and they couldn't pull over. And so the car accident happened because somebody's parent died. And I think this also helps you with empathy. And I go through this sometimes.
That's good stuff.
I do it less and less because I really take it for granted, and I'm able to work myself to a really good spot. When you're in a car and somebody cuts you off, the initial reaction is always to be angry at that person for cutting you off, instead of asking yourself, why is that person cutting me off? That person could be cutting you off because they are late for a meeting. Their child just is
I'm trying to get the lights back on. There we go.
That person cut you off because this thing happened, or well, why did that thing happen? And you go through this 5 why process, and you start to figure out, well, that person cut you off because they got to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Instead of in your mind, they're just like, that person cut me off because they're just trying to get off this exit before me. And it's like, no. There is something much deeper to that. Or the person may have just, they were daydreaming and they forgot that their exit is coming up and they swerved over at the last minute, or there's just a multitude of different things like that. I'll give you another example real quick. When an airplane crashes. Why did the airplane crash? Because the pilot went to pull the controls and the wing didn't work. Why didn't the wing work? Because the flap had an issue with it. Why did the flap have an issue with it? Because it was meant to be repaired. Why wasn't it repaired? oh, it wasn't repaired because it came in one day and it needed to go out quickly, immediately, like it was a really short thing. Well, why didn't they reschedule? Well, they didn't reschedule it because the system was broke, the computerized maintenance system.
Mm-hmm.
So what ends up happening? That plane crashed because the computerized system wasn't robust enough. The plane crashed because it wasn't maintained at the correct intervals. That plane crashed because the wing wasn't broken. That plane crashed because the pilot couldn't control it.
Mm-hmm.
The pilot couldn't control it because it wasn't being maintained properly.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that he thought that he could
That's
have
good, man. That's
everything-
good, bro.
everything that he thought he could have control over, none of that stuff had an effect. It was all based on something that had nothing to do with him or anything that he had any control over.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. It makes me think the five whys, you know, and this will be a good note to probably end on at some point. I think about my mom. You know, my mom when she first got diagnosed with diabetes, you know, and later, you know, she had to get her leg amputated up to the hip. You know what I mean? But I was thinking about it and she said, oh, you know, she was crying and, you know, I don't look like myself, I don't have my leg. It was hard for me to have sympathy because I'm like, the doctor did not cut your leg off. You ate that leg off. And that's a harsh reality. Why did you get diabetes? Because you was drinking soda.
Why were you drinking soda? Why were you drinking soda?
Yeah.
Because it tastes good.
Right.
Because it's because it's helping you. Food is a comfort for us,
Yeah.
and it helps us wash away the pain or to hide the pain.
Right.
So why are you drinking it? Because it gives you a feeling of feeling good, and you don't get that normally.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that you can turn to the soda to get you that quick fix, and you keep doing it. Well, why do you keep doing it? Because all these things are happening around me that are causing me pain, and the only way that I know to relieve that pain is through soda.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody ever said, you know, that another way to release that pain is to go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Another way to release that pain is to do yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Another way to release that pain is to do X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
So you start asking those whys.
That's 3. You got 2 more.
Okay, so why is the family situation the way that it is? Well, I don't want to get into specifics or particulars, but that's where it and it doesn't necessarily always have to go to the 5th why.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get to a point where you just like, okay, that's
it.
That's it.
That's it.
Now you know more of this. You grew up in this, and you know more of the story. So, was it because she's trying to make herself feel better, or hide the pain, or what would you say?
Education.
Not knowing.
Education. Not knowing. You know, not knowing. You know, my mom never. The way she grew up, 5 brothers and sisters. You know, 10 of them total. She didn't know how to read and write. You know what I'm saying? So if you break it down to education, you know what I mean? You're doing things based off pain, based off what you've been through, based off different circumstances. But the point of it is just not that the education wasn't there. You know, to develop you in a way to know. You know, great mother though. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I am the smart man I am because mom said don't end up like me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you know, and there's been plenty of times where she could have did the education stuff. You know what I mean? But that's many people's story. Whether you do know how to read and write, you're not educated about food, or you're not educated about yourself. You know, or you went through things that didn't have healing. You know, so therefore you drank the soda or the alcohol or smoked the cigarettes trying to cope. You know what I mean? And now that's why I love that. This the 5 whys thing. Like, yo, you just made me a better artist, brother. You just made me a better actor because I can look at why does it. And we do this, but I do things, you know. So it comes to me so like math came to you so easy sometimes. But now I can pinpoint. That's what they call working on the craft. Because now you can pinpoint it every single time.
Yeah.
And I can look and say, well, why is he saying that? Oh, he said it's because of this. Oh, he's doing this because of that. But why is he doing that? Or why is, you know what I'm saying? And it gets me boom, boom, boom. Like the role your serial love is. You know, I didn't come to the discovery of what I needed. It was a young lady that's on the show named Dara. When we were talking, she said, all Yasir needed was an opportunity. So that's all I needed. Then I knew everything I needed to know. But over a series of conversations, we got to the why.
And I think probably over the past 5 years as well, I've started to use the 5 whys for any time that I feel frustrated, any time that I feel angry, any time that the darkness or the critic comes out, and I start to really ask myself why.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I putting off doing this? Why am I upset at this person because they're acting this way?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can point the finger at somebody else, but ultimately you have to look internally at yourself and to continue to ask yourself why.
Yeah.
And say, okay, well, I'm acting this way because I'm too into myself, or I'm being too rigid about this, or I'm not willing to change, or I'm afraid to change. I'm afraid to listen to somebody else's opinion because I have an opinion and I want my idea to go out there. And if somebody else says something that's contrary to my opinion, you can either listen, accept, say thank you, and improve, or you can say no, and you can throw up a wall, and you can say it's either my way or it's not happening. And sometimes it has to be your way, but other times, if you continue to ask yourself why, well, why would I feel this way? Or why would I want to not accept feedback from somebody else?
That's good.
So it works outwardly, and it also works inwardly as well.
Yeah. I think it's also a thin line too when it comes to faith, because sometimes faith doesn't care about the why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Well, why would I do that? You know, the faith like I can supersede that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But you know, so it's not a
end all be all.
Yeah, it's not a
It's
recipe
a tool.
for everything.
It's a tool.
It's a
It's a tool.
It's a tool.
We're giving everybody tools, because if you even look at a sculptor, and this is a great place to wrap it up, is with cutting stones. A person who chisels away has a rock, and they have a multitude of different chisels that they use.
Wow.
They have a multitude of different tools to give them a different effect, or to give them a different amount of material that gets removed with chipping and hammering away at it. So what the 5 whys is it's another tool in that toolbox. So
Man, it's always good, brother. It's always good, man. It's always good. It's always good. Oh, I think it stopped. Cause of
battery.
nah, it's a.